All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And just as promised today, a little bit later because I had stuff to do, but uh, just as promised, we have our new series that we're bringing to the channel. And I want to say this right, Project Opono. Uh, if I did mispronounce that, I do apologize. The guy who made uh, the video, the series, I know he was in the chat the other day, so I want to show him some love here. Hopefully, I'm not mispronouncing that. Fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, hope everybody's having a good Sunday. We're gonna get into this in just a moment. Give some people a little bit of time to come in here. Want to make sure I put myself at a good little area here. Is this about as big as I normally do when I'm doing like the normal non like the recorded reactions? I feel like it's about that size. Obviously, with the background, you know, I got a little. I'm putting myself in this little square up here, as you guys can see the square. Well, you can't see the square, but there is the square. It's a. I'm trapped in a box within a screen on your screen. I'm in a screen within a screen. I'm trapped. Okay. I can make it a little bit bigger, but I'm trapped in this box here that I put myself in. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a good day so far. A little bigger, please. Yes. Okay. Bam. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger, and also we're gonna go full screen in the video. So I don't want to make it too crazy. All right. I feel like that's cool. So, and yes, Angel. Welcome into the stream here. So this is going to be a great project. I'm assuming this is going to be a good series that we're going to be watching here. Again, hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I'm having a pretty decent one myself. Had to get some groceries, things like that. So that was all fun to deal with. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a moment. Just want to make sure everybody has a little bit of time to get in. All right, perfect. So we're gonna get started in 3, 2. I don't know why I have to put up a 1. 1. Boom. We're going. Oh, I like the music.
Well,
and everybody can hear this as well. No issues with the audio of you hearing the channel as well as hearing me. I might turn this down slightly just because it's a little loud on my side.
welcome, fellow explorers, to Project Opono.
Yeah. Okay.
In this video, we will discuss the history of planet Opono from its formation to the beginning.
Opono. I said it right. Hey, I said it right. Also, guys, make sure you, before we fully get started, make sure you guys go to the channel, subscribe to Project Opono. Boom, I'm hitting the like already, so you guys see that there. But yeah, support this channel. Let's go to, the link will be in the description to this video. Once it, after the stream, I'll put all the links in here for all the videos we watched today. But yeah, it's got a whole playlist, nice and organized for us. So yeah, we're going to get started. We are learning about this planet, Planet Opono, fictionalized planet here. So if you are a fan of the Alien Biospheres videos, this is also going to be a good thing for to watch together.
Beginning of life on the planet. In the beginning, Opono was nothing but a cloud of gas and dust left over from the formation of the Eden system. Eventually, this material started to clump together, forming rocks.
Okay.
These rocks continued to fuse with each other, growing ever larger. The rocks eventually formed small planetesimals, the building blocks of planets. These planetesimals also began to clump together, eventually forming what we now know as Opono. At this time, Opono was nothing but a hot, hellish world with lava oceans and an atmosphere full of toxic
gas. Guys, this is how Earth was formed as well. So if you're not familiar with this process, this so far, very normal stuff here. We got big explosion in the galaxy. We got a bunch of rocks and stuff clustering together, eventually forming around. I'm assuming I don't think he talked about the star system yet, but I'm assuming this is forming around at least one major star. Maybe this might be one of those planets that have 2 stars around it. They got 2 suns. But that's a whole thing. There's like, whole things that have to happen for that to work out properly. So we'll see how this goes. I'm assuming they have one sun, though.
Gases such as sulfur, carbon dioxide, and other aerosols. This
Okay.
is what Opono stayed like for millions of years before the planet gradually started to cool down. However, this cooling period would be short-lived. This is due to another planet named Sturban colliding with young Opono.
Oh, wow.
This collision, similar to the collision between Earth and Theia, is what triggered many more millions of years of hell on Opono. The collision also flung Sturban closer to the stars, resulting in its modern appearance and unstable orbit. Opono,
Unstable orbit,
however,
okay.
continued to cool again. The remaining material flung off of the planets during their collision had formed a ring around the planet. This would be short-lived, however, as most of the material
Now, again, very familiar because this seems exactly like the story of how Earth got started. If you guys don't know, fun fact, Earth did have rings for a certain period of time. Not long-lived rings, but we did at one point have a ring on it. Earth got divorced, just like Earth is just like me for real.
rained back down onto the planet in marvelous meteor showers. The material that didn't fall back down to the planet eventually formed Opono's one and only moon, Parvu. Over the next few tens of millions of years, the planet began to cool again, eventually forming its first oceans. These oceans were not hospitable, however, as they were around 100 Fahrenheit at the hottest. Jumping forward another few million years, and the planet is near its modern temperatures. Over time, its atmosphere became more and more Earth-like, except that
Now, I do appreciate, because obviously I was made aware of how this video was made before I've got to actually watch it. So I get to have a little bit more appreciation for it. But I'm pretty sure this is all one guy who made all of this through like pixel art program on his computer. So shout out once again. That is actually impressive to do all of this, and he's got a whole series. So you can only imagine the amount of hours that went through with making sure that this all fit properly. So again, as somebody who also has to deal with editing and stuff like that, and like it gets to be a little bit of a challenge sometimes. I think we can all kind of agree with that. The whole reason I like doing live streams is because there's a lot less editing that has to go into it before it comes out to the public. It's just one of those things. So again, I do try to make at least something happen, with these videos after, but just letting y'all know there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I want to shout out this guy for, putting in that work.
it had a lot more oxygen. Meanwhile, out in the cosmos, a rogue planet named Dikil was heading towards the Eden system. Dikil was an icy planet. However, it had a pretty sizable subsurface ocean under its thick layer of ice. This subsurface ocean harbored simple single-celled organisms. As Dikil entered the system, it collided with millions of little rocks, which broke off some of its material. This material contained some organic compounds needed to create life. This material was flung towards the system, colliding primarily with the planets of Opono, Elva, and Hades. This allowed each of them to cultivate their own unique biospheres in a process called panspermia. Panspermia is a scientific theory which says that life can be transported from planet to planet using any means possible. This event sparked a new era in the history of life in the Eden system, allowing the seeds of life to take root.
And thus ends our journey through the history of Opono. We have explored all the way up to the beginning of life on the planet, from a cloud of material to a lush world ripe with evolutionary potential. Opono has come a long way since its formation. In the next episode, we will explore the planet in more detail, along with the first life forms to evolve in its oceans since Dikil left the system. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.
So that was the epilogue that we just watched there. So I don't know. This is the first episode. Okay. I guess we got to replace this with your own material. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be some other material there before we get started. But I do want to say I did like that brief explanation of the the whole solar system, the whole system is in. You know, great explanation there. I think we should have learned. I want to say I wanted to know more about the star system as well, but I feel like that may have been something I possibly may have missed at the very beginning. So I might have to go back on that one. But again, so far so good. I like it. It seemed, you know, obviously very scientific there. You know, using a lot of different scientific theories on creating the solar system that felt very realistic. Now, I did notice that the one reason I wanted to go over the star system because it seemed like they had one big like red star, but then I saw like a smaller white star like to the side of it, and I wanted to know more if this was like a dual star system or one of them is just like a red star, which is going to be bigger. You know, it's going to be big, but it's not going to be as bright. But then it has a secondary star that's going to be small but super bright. So it's like one of them would probably be able to warm the planet, while the other one would be able to give it like the like the sunshine, like the brightness that our sun has. Pretty much using two stars to do what our one star does. Shout outs to our sun, bro. Our sun is literally the goat of stars that we could have. You know, some don't like it. Some people don't like it as much as others. Me, I love it.
Welcome, fellow travelers, to Project Opono. In this episode, we will go over Opono and its early biosphere. Opono is a mid-sized rocky planet situated in the middle of the habitable of its stars, Eden A and B. Opono has a mass of 0.78 Earth masses, thus it has a lower gravity than Earth. Opono has a warm climate, ripe with evolutionary potential. But before we see what life forms inhabit this world, we must go over a few major abiotic factors. Opono has one moon, Parvu. Parvu is a small moon, barely being able to coalesce itself into a sphere, thus it has to deal with an odd pear shape. Opono's atmosphere is similar to Earth's atmosphere.
So wait, our moon has a pear shape? We got a pear-shaped moon?
Has to deal with an odd pear.
That's our moon right there? Like, you know, I wouldn't be happy with this, bro. I wouldn't be happy with this.
Opono's atmosphere is similar to Earth's atmosphere, with one major difference being the large amount.
I mean, how big is this moon? Could it be considered a moon if it doesn't have enough gravity within itself to form like an actual sphere? Or does it just not have the most? Like, what's going on here? Why is it Why is it shaped like a pear in space? I mean, that sounds more like a comet. It sounds like we just got like a comet that's just like circling us versus like a full-on moon. You know, is this thing our current moon is bigger than what, like Pluto, ain't it? Like, you know, is this Pluto shaped? Is this Pluto sized at least?
Of oxygen. Opono has 37% of its atmosphere being oxygen. This results in animals being able to grow larger, but also means wildfires are way more deadly than on Earth. Now that we have those major factors out of the way, let's see what life inhabits this strange world. But before we do that, we must see how its continents drift from the first life to the present day. I will show you how they drift now. The continents' names are Proto.
There's something about this being pixel art that is so much funnier than like anything, and not in a bad way. Again, shout outs to the creator of this. I enjoy the pixel art, but there's a comical effect to how that just happened. There's definitely a comical there's a comical tone even to how he said, I'm gonna show you how they happen now. There's a pause and then it immediately just happens. It's not like obviously it would take so much work to do this, but to like have them slowly go into the actual places pixel by pixel versus obviously what he's doing is, it went to the next one. There's like a comedic timing to how he just did that, which I appreciate. As a silly guy myself.
We must see how its continents drift from the first life to the present day. I will show you how they drift now.
It's the "I will show you how they drift now" thing that gets me.
Drift from the first life to the present day. I will show you how they drift now.
Bam. Bam. Yeah.
The continents'
I like it.
names are Proto, Defteros, Meso, and Apovlidos. Proto, Defteros, and Meso form a supercontinent.
Guys, are you more of a proto, Defeturos, Mesos, Alpavitos type of person? Personally, I really mess with Mesos. I think Mesos is kind of like the one. I'm gonna go on a limb here right now before the video even goes on. First, I'm gonna give it a like. Make sure you guys also go to go to the video, give this guy a like as well. But I'm gonna go Meso. I'm gonna say off rip that in the future it's gonna be the best area. I'm making my bets now, so guys, make your bets below. Which area you think is gonna be the most comical. Anthrax, what's going on? I haven't seen you here since the last time I saw you here. I like seeing people here with crowns on them, though. That's pretty cool. It's an interesting thing you guys have there, crowns. I like it. I really mess with it. Shout out to all my kings and queens in the chat,
Known as
Got your crowns on your head.
After some time, Proto splits off and drifts northward, while Defteros and Meso drift towards Apovlidos. Eventually, Defteros splits off from Meso, drifting northward and merging with Proto to create a new northern supercontinent. At the same time, Meso and Apovlidos drift towards one another, creating a smaller southern supercontinent. In the beginning, Opono was a lifeless rock with oceans.
Okay, so this is an area with two supercontinents that are kind of like, it's like one is southeast and then northwest, and then all in between it's just nothing but ocean. So I can imagine the ocean patterns on this planet is going to be wild. This is like, is this less than? I feel like this might be like 80% ocean at this point. This is like ocean planet right here. This is almost the One Piece planet. It's just the strips don't connect and it's not all in the center. But it's getting there.
Till one day a rouge planet named Dakil entered the Eden system with oceans. Until one day a rouge planet named Dakil entered the Eden system. Dakil has a subsurface ocean teeming with all forms of microscopic life. One day, Dakil entered the Eden system and collided with a few asteroids, which flung some of its ice at Opono and to other planets in the Eden system. After this collision event, Dakil exited the system, leaving in its wake a new era in the history of Opono. Eventually, the small, single-celled life forms began to diversify and expand into the as-of-yet vacant oceans of Opono. At this point in the history of life on Opono, everything was heterotrophic, meaning that the organisms couldn't produce their own food, so they had to eat things. But eventually one...
Hey, I'm used to that. I like to eat things. I just ate before this stream. So in a way, I can kind of relate to these creatures, They can, they can't just produce food on their own. They got to go to the store just like everybody else, They got to go to the grocery store, come home, they got to, get the stove, make sure that's working and everything. They got to, chop up, prepare the food, season it properly, just like me for real. So I can understand these guys on a level that some people wouldn't be able to understand these guys on.
Clade of single-celled organisms evolved the ability to do photosynthesis, which is the process by which an organism uses sunlight to produce sugars. The dominant plant color on Opono will be yellow. Keep in mind that plants can be any color they want. It just so happens that yellow is the dominant color on Opono. Eventually, these single-celled photosynthesizers will converge into one organism. The Photinostroma are the first clade of multicellular plants on Opono. These algae-like organisms will coat the surface of
Now, I do have to ask, and I guess this is more of a non-jokey scientific question here. So, when he's saying that the dominant color is yellow and that they can be any color that they want. Now, on Earth, I'm pretty sure most things like algae and stuff is green just because that's the color that doesn't, that stays on while all the other different colors of the light spectrum kind of bounce back. Those other colors, like, they're there, but, when the light spectrum hits, they just reflect back green just because that's, it's something about how they absorb the light and everything. So is that just like, is he explaining how like even the algae and everything is green, or like that's normally green on Earth, that's going to become yellow just because of like color preference? Or is, I thought there was like or is it because they have two stars? They have like the white sun, the smaller, and then they have the red sun that's larger. Is it because of that they actually can, absorb the different spectrums of light and then reflect back any color that they want? Or is this like they have to? It seems like obviously he said they can be. So I guess, like, am I wrong here? I guess what I'm really asking is, was I correct in thinking that plants were green currently because of the way that they reflect light back through this, because of the spectrums of light that we have based off our sun? Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Maybe plants are just like, you know what? I just love the color green. Which, you know what? Green is my favorite color too. So again, shout outs to plants. Me and plants are, like this, day ones. I've been seeing plants my whole life, so I really mess with them. I just want to make sure that I know this properly, because I might be misunderstood on some information here. Plants could be hiding some stuff from us. We could be seeing purple plants all the time. They just refuse to do it. Maybe it's our fault. We're not telling them that we want the colors. But again, what's going on here? Maybe I'm wrong.
Be any
Comment down below. Let me know if I'm wrong about that.
color they want. It just so happens that yellow is the dominant color on Opono. Eventually, these single-celled photosynthesizers will converge into one organism. The Photinostroma are the first clade of multicellular plants on Opono. These algae-like organisms will coat the surface of Opono's oceans in a thick yellow mat, becoming an as-of-yet untapped food source to which animals will start to take advantage of.
One such animal is the hexapinae. These small creatures are the first clade of multicellular animals on Opono. They have 6 fins, 3 in each side of their body, which they use to swim. They have 4 tentacles, which they use to tear off pieces of Photinostroma and pass it into their...
I like how he also incorporates other artists into this. Shout outs to the artistic Panzer. That's an interesting name there, but I like the details in this one
mouth.
here. Because you get the pixel art, but then you get a slightly more like
For tentacles, which they
image.
use to tear off...
You get like a slightly more detailed image here as well, which really helps you visualize this creature in your mind here. They both do the job. It's just, they both work with each other to help formulate your mind what this creature should look like, and I appreciate that.
Pieces of Photinostroma and pass it into their mouth. They also have 6 eyes to allow them to see their food. They have green blood, which, although less efficient than...
Whoa. Hold on. Majority, we got some good blood here. Now, I thought human blood was blue before it hits oxygen. Am I wrong about that too? Do I not know things about things, ladies and gentlemen? Am I really just a person who doesn't know things about things? Because I thought that I knew things about things. Watch Sky and Plant Color by Artiflexion. Okay. I might have to pin that message there. I need to watch that one. Come on, I'm trying to read the other message here. There we go. I'm not screaming, by the way. The video just just in all caps. I don't know why that's funny to me, but I get it. The video is in all caps. I get you're not yelling at me at the moment. But yeah, I thought our blood was blue before it hit oxygen. I didn't know that. Wait, is our blood is this like after it hits oxygen color? Like, there's some creatures out there with purple blood after it hits the oxygen. Peanut worms. Well, hold on now. Hold on now. Because I know I didn't just read after the word peanut worms, penis worms. Is this a real thing? Like, why is that? Okay, who named that one? Who was the guy that was like, you know what this worm looks like, guys? Guys, you know what this worm looks like? Yeah, grow up, scientist. You know, submarine worms have green blood. You know, I don't think I've ever seen a leech in real life, so I can't even say I've seen like leech's blood. But I've never seen a leech. You know, I feel like I've killed a spider before and didn't see it with blue blood though. So it must not be all spiders. You know, it must be like a specific spiders. I feel like any random animal or thing I've ever like swatted or anything, always been red blood. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I haven't like diversified in the animal kingdom of which I have taken the lives of. Mostly just small bugs that are ever around me, you know. But I don't go out of my way to go kill worms and spiders and stuff. Like, if I didn't see them, they're safe with me. You know, it's just when you start getting into my areas and stuff, then I'm just like, yo, got to do what we got to do here. But yeah, I try not to just randomly find. So I've never seen creatures with blue blood. The blue blood under the skin thing isn't true. Veins look blue because of light scattering through skin. Oh my god! Oh my! What is this? What are these lies I've been told my whole life? What is happening right now? How are you? We've all like you've been told that before. Everyone in this chat has been told that before, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Yeah, gonna be interesting. Yeah, we are gonna be seeing the next alien biospheres, but today we are doing the watching this Opono series. We're learning about Opono. I'm also learning about how my whole life I've been lied to. You know, blood isn't blue; it's always just been red. Who's even going around saying it was blue?
Red blood still allows them to grow quite large, growing up to 5 inches long and living up to 5 Earth months. While the hexapinae feed on the photinostroma, other animals may feed on marine snow, which is detritus made up of dead organisms which falls to the seafloor. The Dichiosoma are those animals. These organisms are sessile, meaning that they can't move. They don't need to, however, as their food source drifts down to the seafloor by itself. However, one issue faced by these organisms is reproduction. These animals are sessile, meaning that they can't move to find a mate. They may solve this issue by using broadcast spawning, meaning that they spew gametes into the water in hopes that a few of them make it to adulthood. These animals might be hermaphroditic, meaning that their gametes don't need to be of the opposite gender to form offspring. Once their gametes unite, their larvae drift in the current for a few weeks before they find a place to suction to, where they transition into their adult form. The adults have tentacles which they use to filter marine snow and guide it into the mouth, a large, pod-like stomach to digest their food, and to eyes at the tips of their tentacles to locate anything dangerous. They grow up to 3 inches tall and live for up to 3 Earth months, as the hexapinae feed in the photinostroma.
So, guys, obviously, I know that they're using it feels like they're using like the AI voice. I will say, me personally, there is something that is a little funny about the AI voice and just the speech patterns of it. You know, it's the speech patterns and how they put the different fluctuations on certain words and then certain points in there. Like, even every time there's like a comma, like obviously they say, you know, it's like you hear the comma within it. I just think that part is a little comedic to me. That's just me personally because of the type of mind I have. But that, you know, again, shout outs to the video.
They may begin to try and stop themselves from being eaten. One branch of photinostroma may evolve a thick waxy cuticle around themselves to prevent the hexapinae from eating them. One benefit from this is that they can grow larger, with these new plants growing much larger than their ancestors. These plants may evolve to be circular to gather as much light as possible. These plants may evolve a sticky layer around their waxy cuticle to allow them to stick together in huge colonies near the equator, being so large in fact, that they look like giant living islands from space. We will call these plants the Thalasphilo. They grew up to 15 inches long, from the Photinostroma to the Dichiosoma. Life on Opono has diversified greatly since Dactyl left. In the next episode, we will see how these simple creatures evolved to fill every niche available, as well as the evolution of the apex predator of the ocean. Special thanks to all the fan artists on Discord who made fan art for this episode.
Hey,
You guys
shout outs to all the people who made the fan art. The Average Avocado, The Other Stick, Artistic Panzer. These are all very funny names. The Other Stick, I don't know why I'm getting funny. That's like funny to me, but it is. An Average Avocado, that's pretty funny. I feel like that's like something you'd see on a t-shirt. And the Artistic Panzer, that again, that's just hitting me in a funny bone right there.
guys made it look a lot better than it would have
Like
been with
that-
just my art.
that
Thank you
one
all
just
for
kinda gets me
watching.
right there.
See you in the next episode.
Hold on. That's a good idea. Maybe check out the complete history of the Earth series by Paleo Analyst. Okay. Yeah. And then obviously not right now, but when you're able to. Well, yeah, I get that. I like that idea. Let me pin can I pin more than one? Okay, what I want you to do, I have one thing pinned at the moment. I gotta just look these up, I guess. Okay, give me a moment here. What's it called? Complete History of the Earth series. Let me go ahead and look that up right quick, because I feel like I'm gonna forget about it any other point. Do. Here we go. Bam. We're going to save this to a playlist. Live reaction, stream playlist. Bam.
Welcome back,
Add it to
fellow
the
travelers,
playlist.
to Project Opono.
Don't forget about this. Don't forget how much I do for you guys. Don't forget it. I love you guys. I stopped the middle of the stream just to find just for you. I'm doing this all for you. Okay. I'm losing it now, right? Okay. I'm starting to lose it. Boom. And then I gotta move myself back to here. I'm being a little too silly now.
In this episode, we will see how the organisms of Opono adapt to newly evolved predators. Meet the Longacata, descendants of the Hexapinae. These animals have changed a lot from their ancestors, the most noticeable changes being their larger size and tail fin. Their tail fin is used to allow them to achieve bursts of speed while hunting for their main prey. The Hexapinae, their increased
You know what? I do enjoy the music in this. It's just like, it's so calming. And like, it just really hits that spot for me, the music. So yeah, again, shout outs to the creator. If you guys haven't already, make sure you go and subscribe to Project Opono. Again, good series so far. I'm a silly guy, so there are things in this video that I know for a fact were not supposed to be funny, that I personally find a little comical. So no offense by that. Again, I don't know how he's going to feel about this when he sees it, but there's no offense taken. I am just a silly guy.
size is also useful when mating. Males use their newly achieved speed to race towards a small school of 3 to 4 females to try and get a mate before their competition. If a smaller male tries to take the female of a larger male, the larger male will intimidate it into backing down. When
Just like on Earth, bro. That still happens to this day. That happens to this day. You see people like that. Some guy tries to hit on the girl, and then some dude goes, "Oh, you looking at my girl?" Just try to intimidate them away. Meanwhile, the big dude probably don't want to fight. And, some of these small guys, they be out here doing, we got MMA and stuff, people be out there looking all skinny and all, next thing you know, it's like, pow, 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 you on the ground. They did wrestling for 15 years. So you ain't even know. They were a freaking martial arts expert for the last 20 years of their life. And you over here just thinking that she was just big. But, turns out those were just like for show muscles.
Prey is scarce. They may occasionally feed on the thallophilo, being mesocarnivores. Mesocarnivores are predators who gain 50 to 70% of their food from meat, and the rest from plants. They grow up to 1 foot long and live for up to 5 years. One branch of the Longicada may evolve to feed on the Dichiosoma. They may evolve to use their bottom to tentacles to grab their food and pull it up from the seafloor, with the top to tentacles evolving a flap of skin.
Hey, shout outs to Blab.
To grab their food and pull.
Shout outs to Blab. Again, I do enjoy the mix with the pixel art with like more detailed art, just because with the pixels you can only get so much detail in those pixels before it starts, it's like, all right, how small can you make a pixel at that point? But then, with this, it gives it a little bit more clarity. So again, the two together really help formulate the look of these creatures in your mind. I enjoy that.
Split up from the seafloor, with the top to tentacles evolving a flap of skin between them and the main body, evolving into dorsal fins. These animals may also evolve teeth in their throat to grind their food into a paste before passing it into the stomach.
Oh, wow.
They may evolve a brown coloring to blend in with the seabed. Their front pair of eyes may evolve to be larger and more sensitive to the dim light of the seabed. With these adaptations, these Longicada will become the apex predators of the seabed. We will call them the Dinatabrachid. They grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 3.5 years. After Dinatabrachid evolves, the Dichiosoma may evolve a new way of defending themselves. One branch of Dichiosoma may evolve a shell to protect themselves from Dinatabrachid. This shell may be made of calcium. Whenever a predator is detected, these animals may retract their feeding arms into the shell, and so appear like a lifeless.
Hey, shout outs to Blob Basil, Blue Basil. The names are funny. I like this art style as well. This one's more like, it's like if you ever played like a Game Boy Advance, or like a Game Boy Color or something. It's like that type of art where it's like, I guess this would still be like pixel art here. So I'm not sure if this is considered pixel art or not. I enjoy this art style as well.
Rock. This is called defensive mimicry, where an animal evolves to look like something that it isn't in hopes of avoiding predation. These animals may also evolve filter feeding hairs along their tentacles to collect more marine snow than their ancestors ever could.
Also, I just thought about it, guys. If you ever see like a funny moment in the clip or any of the especially with these live streams, again, feel free to clip it or whatever. Spread the influence all around. Spread my influence all over people. I guess I don't know how you say that properly, but yeah, if you ever see a funny moment or anything, feel free to clip it. I'm not really, a person who cares about all that type of stuff. If it makes me look ridiculous, it is what it is. I just want to let that be known while I'm doing, especially since I'm doing, trying to do a little bit more live streams. Again, recorded videos are still on the way. They're being edited now. So, if you guys are fans of the Alien Biosphere series, which I know you are, you guys are going to be getting a actual recorded video coming out this week. So I'm actually editing that. I know somebody in the chat had brought up Alien Biospheres. So yeah, Alien Biospheres will be coming out this week. I just wanted to do this live stream today just so we could do like viewer recommended stuff, stuff like that. So, and we got recommended this whole series. I was like, that'd be a great stream. But yeah, Alien Biospheres is coming out this week. So be excited about that. We're apparently learning a lot of scientific stuff this week. This might be an all science week. I don't know. I might have to bring out the Curtis art videos. I might have to like watch a Curtis art video this week or something just to fully science it out. This is all real science November. Is that a no nonsense November? All science. I don't know. What are we doing here?
These adaptations, these Dichiosoma are well defended against Dinatabrachid, and thus will start to thrive in the as of yet vacant seabed. We will call them the Panoplosoma. They grow up to 1 foot tall and live for up to 10 years. They may form vast reefs at the equator.
Okay.
We will explore this biome in a future episode.
Shoutouts to Michael.
While the animals have been diversifying, the Thalasphilo may be evolving as well. Perhaps one branch of Thalasphilo evolves to grow on the seabed. These plants may evolve a stem to be higher up in the water column and be closer to the ocean's surface. This will allow them to collect as much sunlight as they can. Their stem may also evolve a hold-fast-like structure to anchor itself to the seabed. We will call these plants the Stellophyto. They grow up to 1 foot tall. As the Stellophyto grow on the seabed, the competition for light rapidly escalates. Perhaps one branch of Stellophyto evolves to grow taller than their competition. Their ancestral gas bubbles may evolve into a large hollow cavity inside their stem filled with air, providing them with an interesting way of supporting themselves. As this happens, the plant itself may grow taller, evolving into something similar to a tree. These underwater trees may form dense jungles near the equator, bordering the reefs. We will
Now, how is that going to affect the life that would be created? Because there's going to be creatures that eventually adapt to living just on these things, just like in life or on the land. You know, you get a bunch of trees that's just like, you know, you have a forest on land. That's where a bunch of life is just going to start exploding. So in this biodome here, even underwater, I imagine if they're going to, you know, have hollowed out insides and pretty much just be a big tree that, you know, takes up as much light as possible, then there's going to be some other creatures I imagine that adapt to live within them, you know, which would probably ruin the structural integrity of them. But, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, maybe either live on them or in them or just around them and take advantage of that. Probably maybe some creature lives on top of its, you know, branches, you would say. I don't know. I don't know if it'd be as sturdy just because I don't know if we know the full material of this creature's anything yet, but I imagine it wouldn't be as sturdy, but you know, it would still be able to have some type of life, like enclosed. Like if you cut out some space in its arms or something, you know, it'd probably still be able to support itself and have like some fish living in it.
explore this biome in a future episode. We will call these plants the Silostele. They grow up to 5 meters tall. As the Silostele grow taller, other Stellophyto may do the opposite, growing shorter. The Epigeostele have evolved to have their stem be fully underground, with only their leaf sticking out at the top. They have also evolved a wider leaf to capture as much of the little light as they can. Due to taller plants blocking out almost all of the light, these plants have evolved a darker pigment to gather as much light as they can to not starve to death. These plants grow up to 30 inches wide. As the Silostele, Stellophyto, and Epigeostele begin to spread across the seafloor, animals may start to take advantage of them. The large leaves of these plants may provide a hiding place for the Hexapinae and other small creatures. However, as of yet, nothing can eat these plants. Perhaps a clade of Dachyosoma evolves to feed on these plants. One problem these creatures face is that they are sessile, meaning that they can't move. However, the larvae of the Dachyosoma are semimodal, using their feeding tentacles to swim until they find a place to stick to the sea floor and mature until an adult. Perhaps one clade of Dachyosoma evolves to stay modal for their entire life. This is called neoteny, where an organism exhibits larval or juvenile traits into its adult form. Perhaps these neotenous Dachyosoma evolved to use their ancestral suction cup similarly to the foot of a snail or slug, flexing muscles on their underside to move them along the seabed. Their feeding tentacles may become more muscular, to be able to pluck the leaves off of the plants they feed on. We will call these strange organisms the Diabrachid. They grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 15 years. As the Diabrachid evolves, the Dinodibrachid may evolve in tandem. Perhaps one branch of Dinodibrachid evolves their arms into a stiff-bottomed jaw, using it to scoop up Diabrachid off of the seabed. These animals may evolve a more powerful tail fin as they dig their bottom jaw into the seabed to scoop up their prey. We will call these animals the Phtyerebrichid.
They gotta have a filter or something, right, to shoot out the sand so you don't confuse all the sand with the fish that they're trying to capture, you know?
Grow up to 6 feet long and live for up to 24 years. After the
Whoa, 24 years? Who is this guy? Mr. Live Forever over here. Mr. I got all the lives in the world over here. Mr. I'm gonna live past everybody I know over here. Who is this guy? 24 years? The other guy, 15. And I was like, whoa, impressive 15 over there. Not anymore. This guy, come on, bro. Who's this guy?
evolution of
He's going to be around to this day.
Phtyerebrichid, Diabrachid has no defense from their new predators. Perhaps one clade of Diabrachid evolves to dig burrows, but to adapt to a burrowing lifestyle, they may need to make some changes to their body. These animals may thin out, becoming long and slender, similar to earth snakes. These animals' burrows may be super long, so that predators will give up trying to find the animal if spotted out of its burrow. These animals rarely exit their burrows, only coming out to breathe, eat, or find a mate. These animals share the dyes of the ancestral Diabrachid, eating epigeostal and marine snow. We will call these long animals the Macrosoma. They grow up to 7 feet long and live for up to 29 years. So far, we have mainly
29? Okay, what is this, an arms race to see who's gonna live the longest? What are we gonna see? A guy who's living up to like 80 years pretty soon? That's not even gonna be like, it's gonna be like a million years in the future, and he's gonna be like, yo, I'm living up to 80, you know? Which, very fast in, you know, freaking times, I feel like, you know, it was like, oh yeah, give it like 200,000 years. All of a sudden, boom. 200-year-old creatures over here. Like, what's going on here?
focused on the sea.
This is a slip. I don't know how slippery the slope is, but it feels like a slippery slope that we're going through, where creatures are starting to live for a pretty long time. I was expecting everybody at these eras to still be like 2-3 year times of life. You know, like boom, you got to do all this quick. You know, you got to make it happen real quick, Captain. You got to make it happen, Captain. How long was DNA? Like, how long were, like, what are the freaking things for Earth? Am I wrong here? I might be wrong. This might be another situation where blood wasn't blue the whole time. So let me know if I'm wrong in the comments below. But, like, you know, were creatures living like 29 years back in like prehistoric Earth days? Like, that feels like a long time for like a sea creature. You know, you're underwater. It's a lot of other creatures there. It's crazy. Life is crazy. You know, obviously this is the beginning, but like even the beginning was crazy. You know, like who's living to 29 those years, you know? You'd be lucky if you hit year 6. You know, you trying to hit year 10, it's like, whoa, old man over here. Mr. Double Digits in the building over here. Like, whoa. Who, like, you already started, did you get your AARP check yet, Mr. I'm 10? You know, like, these are sea creatures, you know? Like, 10 years feels like a long time for a sea creature to be alive. Let me know down below. Maybe I'm just tripping. That might not be a long time.
Let's venture up into higher waters to see how the Longacauda and Hexapinae have been evolving. As the population of Longacauda grows larger, the Hexapinae start to dwindle in number. As a result, many species of Hexapinae go extinct. But before fully dying out, one branch of Hexapinae may evolve to fill the role of Earth krill. These animals evolve to be smaller than they already are, growing up to a maximum of 4 centimeters long. It is for this reason they are considered zooplankton, meaning that they cannot swim against the current. These small Hexapinae feed on smaller zooplankton and Photinostroma. We will call them the Micropinae, and they live up to only 3 Earth months. After the evolution of the Micropinae, one branch of Longacauda may evolve to feed on them. These animals may evolve into giant whale-like creatures with a stiff skeleton made of calcium for extra support while swimming. They may also evolve
skeleton made out of calcium. Let me know if you heard that one before. Sounds like me for real.
Of millions of small teeth to filter out
Millions?
the micropinae and other zooplankton from the water and pass them into the mouth.
Okay.
These animals may grow to be the largest creatures on the planet. We will call them the Phalaenosoma. They grow up to 35 meters long and
Whoa.
live for up to 50 for years.
Whoa.
After the evolution of the Phalaenosoma, other Longacotta may evolve to feed on them. The Carchariapsari are the top predators of Opono's early oceans. They have evolved a four-part jaw from
Bro, what is this? You telling me there's a shark with 4 jaws? Come on,
their
bro.
ancestral tentacles with backward angled teeth to force prey into their mouth. These animals have specialized their middle pair of fins for different purposes. One of the fins became a dorsal fin, allowing them to cut through the water with surprising speed. The other one evolved into a ventral fin used for stabilization while turning. These animals have also evolved a more powerful tail fin. The tail fin of these animals are a crescent or lunate shape, which allows them to be one of the fastest creatures in the ocean. They have also adopted a form of swimming called thunniform swimming, where only the tail fin is used in locomotion. The remaining 4 fins have evolved to aid the animal in turning. They may evolve a form of counter shading, where an animal is perfectly camouflaged with the water. They may have a dark blue top and light blue underside. When viewed from above, they blend in perfectly with the deeper water below them, and when viewed from below, they blend in with the lighter water above them. These animals also have a skeleton made.
You know, I do wonder how this happened in nature. Like, if somebody could explain how that part happened in nature for the first time. Like, do we have a documentation of, like, the first known animal to have this type of, like, you know, oh my gosh, the top is dark and then the bottom is white. Like, we probably don't know which one is the very first. We probably just have the first one we documented as having it. But, like, what was that? Was it was it the shark? Was the shark the first animal we ever saw that was like, yo, this is some crazy stuff right here? It was probably a normal fish. I think fish have this too. We may have been catching fish and was like, whoa, that's interesting. I wonder what's behind this one. Yeah, let's eat it anyway. But then somebody was like, I need to know the answer. And then they figured it out.
Made of calcium, similar to their Phalaenosoma relatives. These animals grow up to 15 meters long and live for up to 37 years. With the evolution of the Carchariapsari, other Longacotta species may be pushed out of the apex predator niche. One branch of Longacotta, they evolved to be more generalist, feeding on anything they can get their tentacles on. They may evolve to live in schools of up to 1,000 individuals, using safety in numbers to avoid predation. They also have a blue skin color to blend in with the water around them. Once every year, however, they congregate in mating schools of up to 10,000.
I'm not gonna lie, I know you said they have a blue color. This feels a little purple. It might just be me. This feels a little purple.
Individuals, it is in schools where they breed. These schools are so massive that it's common to see Carchariapsari, Longacotta, and even Dinodabrachid and Phtyaerobrachid feeding amongst the swarm. We will call these animals the Parvipsari. They grow up to half a foot long and live for up to 15 years. Back on the sea floor, the abundance
Mr. 15 years over here, bro. You're not making it in this society.
of prey may entice some Macrosoma to evolve into ambush predators. These animals may evolve to stick their eye stalks and tongue out of their burrow and wait for unsuspecting prey to pass by. Once the prey gets close enough, they impale them with their tongue.
Oh, wow.
These animals only ever leave their burrows to mate, slithering along the seafloor. We will call these creatures the Anedrosculi. They grow up to 1 meter long and
So if you see one of these guys outside of his burrow, just know he's trying to get it in. If you see 2 of these things outside of their burrow, they're clapping cheeks, ladies and gentlemen, or slapping tails, or whatever they would do in this situation. Wrap around each other or something. Wrap around to the wrap around to the wrap around. This wrap around It's a rap for you, round. See, now you got me rapping.
Live
See?
for up to
Now
21
y'all got me
years.
rapping.
From the Longakata to the Anedraskuli, the animals and plants of Opono have diversified greatly after the advent of active predation. In the next episode, we will explore the underwater jungle and reefs of Opono.
Special thanks to all the fan artists on Discord who submitted.
Hey, shout outs to the fan art. Pidgeot Master, Pidgeoine Master 3000, Michael, obviously, Blab, the other stick, once again, Black Hole Nerd, interesting. Knighton is cool. You know what? He is. And Blue Basil. I don't know, that one was just hilarious. Again, shout outs to all the artists on there. This is I do enjoy the mix of different art styles within this video here. Color on early animals is basically speculative. They still got the signal. They still got to signal to friends and hide from foes like today. For all we know, T-Rex was spotted like a giraffe. Bro, if I see, first of all, the whole T-Rex has been already like shuffled around in my mind because they had feathers apparently. So like my whole idea of what a T-Rex was from when I was a kid is completely different than what it is today, which is crazy. Like that's actually insane. Cause when I was a kid, they were like big lizards, and now it's like, oh, they're actually just like really big, like bird-like creatures. So yeah, I you know what? They may have, for all I know, you're right. They may have been like giraffes, which is even, this is gonna be like giraffes with feathers. They were probably like big old giraffe spotted birds. Like I promise you, if we had time machines, we go back in time, we're going to be so freaking surprised about what animals were doing back in the day or what they look like. We're going to be like, whoa, what animal is that? And we're going to be like, whoa, that's the first hippo right there. You're like, the first hippo? Why is it furry? You know, and it's like, they didn't figure that out yet. You know, they hadn't gone into the waters yet to lose all their fur. You know, they were still big fuzzy creatures. You know, you go back in time, you go to South America, and it's like, whoa, what is that? This big creature trying to kill me. And it's like, oh, they had like anteaters that were like freaking huge. Or no, they had giant sloths. A giant sloth. You're just like, whoa, what is this crazy creature made up to try to destroy me? And it's like, no, that's a real thing. That was a giant sloth. They were so big. They used to like carve out caves or some stuff like that. Like, what are you doing against that, early humans? Like, hopefully, maybe humans just weren't on, North America at that point, or South America. But like, shout outs to humans for getting there a little bit later in time. Because if you get there too early, you know, we started off in Africa. If we started off in like, you know, Central America as humans, we may not have made it this far, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just letting you know now. There's a lot of crazy animals out there, you know. Africa's got crazy animals too, but you know, it's also got a lot of land space and like, you know, it's got a lot of, you know, areas where they're not all just like centralized together. You can kind of move around and stuff, you know. It was just an easier area to start from, I would say. I feel like life got started on Earth at the perfect time in the perfect place, because, you know, a little bit too far in either direction. And it's like, whoa, we not the same people that we were before. It's
Submitted artwork
crazy.
for this episode. You all made this episode look a lot better than it would have been without your help. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.
All right, episode 3, Project Opono. Let's go.
Welcome, fellow explorers, to Project Opono.
Welcome.
In the last episode, we discussed how the simple body plans of Opono adapted to the evolution of the first predators. In this episode, we will discuss two of the most diverse biomes on the planet, the underwater jungles and the reefs. Before we begin, I must state something that will be important later. All of the clades shown in this episode will be present in each of the biomes. So a clade shown to evolve in one habitat may have representatives in the other. So without further ado, let's explore these biomes and what organisms inhabit them. We will start our exploration in the underwater jungle. The underwater jungle is an environment very similar to terrestrial rainforests on Earth, being very warm and tropical. This means it will have comparable diversity to terrestrial rainforests. This biome may be situated in the warmest waters of the equator. This will allow plants to grow here in abundance. The main plants found here will be the Thalasphilo and Xylostele. Perhaps one branch of Xylostele evolves into one of the largest plants on the planet, becoming something similar to trees on Earth. Although, since they are aquatic, they don't actually qualify as a true tree. One notable quirk of these plants are the blue fruits
I'm dancing so much to this music right now. I don't even know why. This is actually insane.
near the base of their trunk. These fruits are very simple, having a waxy outer layer to keep their flesh intact. Their flesh is very sweet and is similar in texture to jelly. At the center, the fruits have a hard stone that has an outer layer which dissolves in water. This stone contains the plant's seeds, with each stone having up to 4 seeds. These seeds will then be transported via the current to new areas for them to grow, forming vast jungles. They are called the arbor flava. They grow up to 10 meters tall. These arbor flava jungles may be so dense that sunlight may not be able to reach all the way down to the seabed. This isn't a problem for Thalasphilo, however, as they float on the ocean's surface. However, Thalasphilo may eventually start to diversify due to competition from other members of its species. One way Thalasphilo may collect.
So I will say, it seems like there may be a slight issue with these. It feels like there's going to be a lot of things taking up the sunlight in the ocean, a lot of things fighting for sunlight, to the point where it feels like the oceans are going to be like, you know, almost like blotted out. Like the sun is going to be like, good thing this planet is like way more ocean than anything else. Fun fact, Aboriginals have myths that seem to describe the extinct megafauna from Australia that went extinct. Wow. So wait, they actually have myths that talk about megafauna from Australia. That's interesting, because it's like, how long were the Aboriginals, you know, like what's the history of the Aboriginals for real, you know, like how long have they been around? You know, when did they get there? I'm sure somebody knows that. That's probably like a factual thing that we know, like, right? Like we know when people started to move. Well, I feel like we have an idea of when people left out of Africa and started going into other continents. Like we have a general idea of when that happened. So do we have a general idea of when the Aboriginal people would have like landed in Australia? You know, like, is it something where it's like, were they part of like the Polynesians and stuff that, or wait, is that where the Polynesians come from? Were they like the original Australians and then like moved over, like just was like, you know what, we're getting on boats, we're starting Moana, we're starting the Moana series right now, we're all getting on boats right now, we're going off into seeing other islands? Is that like, what guys, recommend a good video for me, I guess. Now I'm curious. History of the Aboriginals, you know, if anybody knows, maybe also a history of yeah, thank you, Anthrax. He's gonna look it up. But the thing, it was something about 200,000 years ago. Come on, bro. It's got to be. I feel like we got to know that one. If we don't know when the Aboriginals started, what do we know as a society? You know what I mean? Like, let's start really questioning ourselves. You know, when did we get here? You know, who are we? What are we? You know, as people. You know, we need to start asking ourselves the real questions, is what I'm saying.
More sunlight is by having a larger leaf, but instead of growing a wider
Back to the music.
leaf, they may evolve to segment it instead. However, this larger leaf may require more nutrients to
All right, I gotta pay attention. I gotta pay more attention. The music is really getting me. I'm sorry. I gotta pay more attention.
segment it instead. However, this larger leaf may require more nutrients to sustain. So these plants may evolve roots. These roots may be attached to a bulb where the bulk of the plant's nutrients are stored. We will call these plants the Tmimitos phyllo, and they grow up to 5 feet wide. After Tmimitos phyllo evolves, the ancestral Thallus phyllo may be outcompeted in more tropical waters. This may result in their colonies being forced northward into more temperate waters.
So, yeah, these huge patches of, like, yellow here, that's just like where the plants are. That's a lot of plant life building up, where if you're seeing it from this far, like, it's got to be a struggle. All these other plants down here got to start being like, we're kind of like nocturnal. We don't really need the sun. Okay. I way overestimated. It was between 50,000 and 65,000 years. You know what? Hey, I appreciate the estimation. I feel like if I would have, I feel like I probably would have guessed somewhere around like 150, 200,000 years ago. Yeah, this is an underwater jungle. But like a jungle underwater has got to be so much more, it's got to be more complicated than a jungle on Earth, right? Like, well, I don't know. Maybe there's probably a lot more, I'm just imagining like all the like creatures, like are they going to start doing like freaking underwater mushrooms, so they can like help pollinate the jungles, just like how on the surface mushrooms help jungles and everything form? Or are they just gonna start doing that stuff on your own? Yeah, it's like 78% the size of Earth. Okay. So yeah, you could probably answer some of these questions that I have here. So like, is it going to be more complicated? Something in my mind is telling me like, yo, this underwater jungle is something about it is more complicated than the on land jungle. It's the added water.
However, another branch of Thallus phyllo may be able to survive in the packed surface waters of the equator. Due to the rounded shape of the Tmimitos phyllo leaves, they may leave small gaps.
Whoa, I really enjoy this one here. This is a great view right here. So yeah, it's probably like a kelp forest on the West Coast. I've never seen a kelp forest before. That sounds interesting though. I need to see it. I gotta look that up one day.
Between forest. Individual plants. This may result in one of the strangest Thallus phyllo clades to ever exist. These plants may not grow outward. Instead, they may grow downward. The leaf of these plants may stay the same width as their ancestors, although they may grow to be much longer than before. However, due to how heavy their leaf now is, they may need to evolve a larger air sac to stay afloat.
Yeah.
This air sac may be filled with much more air, keeping these plants aloft. We will call these plants the macrophylla. Their leaf grows up to 5 feet long and 15 inches wide. Back below the waves, other plants may need to adapt to the lower light levels of the seabed. Coupled with a dense canopy of arbor flava leaves above, plants on the seabed may struggle to grow. However, there is one way.
Now, I like how they did describe these as pretty much just like fruits and berries on Earth, where like even the outside part of it was sweet. They're so dense that plants on the seabed will have to grow on the arbor flate around them. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. The plants are gonna have to grow like around them versus like directly underneath them. Where I figure like, are the plants and stuff gonna still try to grow like underneath them and like take advantage of like, I'm sure they're trying to like the roots and everything, or like how was that gonna happen? Like absorb some of their nutrients. But that's why I was bringing up like mushrooms, because I feel like I'm pretty sure that's like what mushrooms do on Earth in our forest. But again, I can't wait to hear the full explanation.
Smaller plants may be able to survive here. Epiphytes are plants that grow on other plants. Perhaps a
Okay.
particularly hardy relative of the epigeostal evolves to grow on the branches of the arbor flava. However, even their
Yes,
dark yellow
okay.
pigment might not be able
You know what's crazy? He just said that in the comments, and then I read it, and then I'm like, okay, I see the vision now. It's like I see it now.
to collect enough light for them to survive. So perhaps they evolve a blue pigment to take in as much light as they can to not
Oh.
starve to death. To
Now they are like mushrooms. They pretty much are just like sea mushrooms. I love this.
stay attached to their host, they may evolve to burrow their roots into the host plant's body. Perhaps these plants give their host a portion of the sugars they produce in exchange for the host plant's immune system not attacking. However, these plants may also use their blue color for defense against herbivores. They may adapt the sticky outer layer of their distant thalasphilo ancestors into a slime similar to that of a hagfish.
Ew.
This slime may be released from special pores on the plant that open when the plant gets bitten. This slime may clog up the gills and mouth of the herbivore, but this might not be enough. So this slime may evolve tiny crystals similar to those of pineapples or kiwis, adding another layer of defense. These plants may grow all along their host plant, enveloping it in a dense covering of blue leaves and stems. We will call these plants the Laspis philo, and they grow up to 10 inches tall. Meet the Stellamimidus, descendants of the Macrosoma. These creatures closely mimic the stems of young arbor flava. They rarely leave their burrows, only leaving if their burrow becomes unsafe or if they need to mate. When still, they are indistinguishable from the young arbor flava, allowing them to feed without fear of attack. But sometimes this isn't enough to deter predators. This is why when they spot a predator, they retract into their burrow until the predator passes it by. They grow up to half a meter long and live up to 17 years. Another equally camouflaged animal is the Arafaloo. These creatures are related to the Parvipsari. They mimic the color of the arbor flava leaves, with their tail mimicking the leaf itself. This allows them to not be noticed by predators. These creatures swim in schools of up to 25 individuals. Interestingly, these schools have a social hierarchy. There are 1 to 2 dominant males with up to 15 breeding females. The rest of the school only stick around for safety in numbers. Whenever a dominant female or male dies, the rest of the school has the chance to rise up the ranks. Interestingly, the males and females of this clade exhibit sexual dimorphism. The males have a tail spike and pink fins. This allows them to be spotted easier against the yellow foliage. These creatures grow up to 1 foot long and live up to 10 years. One of the largest creatures in the underwater jungle may evolve from the Arafaloo. These creatures currently eat the leaves and fruits of the arbor flava. However,
Okay.
nothing has evolved to eat the stems of the plant. Perhaps one branch of Arafaloo evolves to feed on these stems. These creatures may evolve sharp teeth at the ends of their tentacles to pull off strands of the arbor flava stem and pass it into the mouth.
Yo, who is the beat maker on this? They are going in.
Due to their nutrient-poor diet, they may evolve a more complex digestive system to be able to extract as much of the little nutrients as possible. This may cause these creatures to grow much larger than their ancestors. This may also make them much slower swimmers to conserve energy. However, they may supplement their diet with the fruits of the arbor flava and small animals. We will call these animals the Stellaphagos. They grow up to 5 meters long and live for up to 20 years. Up in the canopy, we find the Mimicephalin. These strange creatures are descendants of the Diabrachid. Mimicephalin has evolved to mimic the leaves of the arbor flava by using its tentacles to hang from a branch. This makes it less likely to be spotted by predators. This defense strategy is
I will say it's a little less hanging and a lot more floating. He's he's underwater here, so mostly just floating around. He's got his arms on there. He's doing his thing. He's got his tentacles on there, but he ain't gotta really like hold himself up the whole time. He can just really just like, make sure his tentacles are wrapped around and then just kind of float on the waves. Underwater waves. Just kind of do his thing. Just saying, it's he may not have like the craziest core strength like animals on the land would have. gravity's not affecting them as much.
Called defensive mimicry, where an organism evolves to look like something that it isn't to avoid predation. Interestingly, these creatures have moved their eyes to their main bodies to prevent them from being damaged while climbing. While most species in this clade are herbivores, some use their tentacles to grab small animals to eat. They grow up to 16 inches and live for up to 10 years. With all of these new herbivores, predators are bound to follow. Perhaps a relative of the Anedrosculi evolves to slither up the stems and branches of the arbor flava. These creatures have evolved an orange skin color to help camouflage themselves within the trees. Their tongue has evolved a blue tip, mimicking a young arbor flava fruit. Once prey comes within range, they impale them with their tongue before slithering down the arbor flava and eating. After it has finished eating, it will slither back up the tree, repeating the cycle. They mainly
We got underwater sea snakes already. This is crazy.
feed on the mimicephalin and the arafaloo. We will call these creatures the Olisthomama. They grow up to 1 meter long and live for up to 15 years. Meet the Machariodonta, relatives of the Longacada. These creatures are one of the largest predators in the underwater jungle, with the adults being nearly the same size as an adult Stellophagos. These creatures have evolved a strange way of killing their prey. Instead of grappling with their prey like their distant Carchariapsari relatives, these creatures have opted for a quick puncture approach. The tentacles of these creatures are each tipped with a single, knife-like tooth. When these creatures come within range of their prey, they pull back their tentacles, storing energy like a bow. And with a lightning-fast motion, they stab their prey, killing them almost instantly. These creatures grow up to 4 meters long and live for up to 17 years. With all these large creatures roaming the oceans, some smaller species might take notice. Perhaps a small species of Phalaenosoma evolves to clean larger creatures. They may do this by using the filter-feeding hairs on their tentacles like toothbrushes, cleaning off the dead skin and parasites of larger animals. To be more noticeable to potential hosts, they may evolve a bright blue skin color to stand out against the yellow vegetation. However, this still might not be enough. So they may evolve a rattle at the end of one of their tentacles. This rattle will be similar to that of a rattlesnake rattle. Whenever it approaches a potential host, it shakes its tentacle, producing a slight wave, along with a sound.
It feels like that'd be a tough thing underwater with the sound and like how waves, and like how sound just naturally flows. It just feels like it might be a little bit easier if it made like not like a rattling sound, but more like like some type of like a deep bellowing sound. I feel like would like how whales do, but I guess whales also do high pitched sounds. But it's like, what's the best sound for like an animal to use underwater? I feel like low bass, like high bass sounds, like a lower tone, high bass on it would probably be a little bit more effective underwater than a rattlesnake thing. But I'm not sure. I really want to hear other people's thoughts on that. They also get noticed as they wave the tentacles, the moving water alerts host. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. The movement of the water plus the sound, the combo definitely lets people know. I just, my only thing is like, would a more like a, like one of those type of sounds be a little bit better for it? That's all I'm saying. Evolution, you do your thing. I'm just being the person to tell evolution, maybe this is a better option, but that's me. I'm an idea guy. I'm more of a throw a good idea out there type of guy. I'm not like the do all the type of work type of guy, as you guys could probably tell by how long it takes for videos to come out on this channel. But, nonetheless, I be throwing out some ideas though.
However, if this animal tries to clean a predator, the predator might try to eat it. But it is in the predator's best interest to be cleaned, so these cleaners might be spared. We will call these creatures the Catharapsari. They grow up to 20 inches long and live for up to 7 years. Meet the Agelidenopsari, descendants of the Longacada. These strange creatures are one of the weirdest animals in the underwater jungle. They have lost the ability to swim. Instead, their side fins have evolved into very muscular flippers, allowing them to drag their heavy bodies along the seafloor. Their tail fin is used to kick up sand, preventing predators from attacking them while they feed. These creatures are highly intelligent for their size, being able to form social bonds with one another. Interestingly, the males and females exhibit different social behaviors. The males travel in solitude, being highly antisocial. Females, on the other hand, travel in maternal herds of up to 7 individuals, not including young. When breeding season arrives, males compete for females, resulting in more than one male mating with a single female. These creatures are similar to cows on Earth, being very large and bulky. They feed on arbor flava fruits, stellophyto, epigeostal, and low-growing branches. They grow up to 3.5 meters long and live for up to 23 years.
23 good years. I feel like this guy is eating good over here. Like this guy is living life. Like so far, out of all the animals, which one would you rather be? I feel like I'd rather be this guy so far. Maybe you don't got the longest life in the world, but he's probably eating good for the lives, All of his descendants lose the rattle. Dang it. That's crazy. But you know what? I kind of expected it. I'm not going to say I didn't see that coming. I kind of feel like I saw that coming a little bit. The rattle, a little much. You're doing a lot there, buddy, with the rattle, You don't have to be that guy. You're not the guy who has to have a rattle underwater, bro. Like, it's not. What are we doing here, Okay, let me move this chat back over here. You guys can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm just trying to make sure I can personally see the chat. And, all right, there we go.
Another biome with comparable diversity to the underwater jungle is the reefs. These reefs may be formed primarily of Panoplicima. However, different clades of Panoplicima may start to compete with one another for access to marine snow, causing them to start evolving new ways to not compete with one another. The simplest option to avoid competition for food is to have a smaller body size, as creatures with smaller bodies need less food than animals with large body sizes.
Whoa, no spoilers, but yeah, we're gonna get okay, he has freshwater descendants that make it to land. Okay. No spoilers, though.
So perhaps a clade of Panoplicima evolves to be smaller to avoid competition with larger species. However, this will make them easier prey for Dinodibrachid. To solve this issue, they may evolve to have their main body and shell hidden under the sand, with only their tentacles and eyes sticking out of the ground. To blend in with their environment, they may evolve a yellow coloration to blend in with the sand and local vegetation. We will call these well-hidden Panoplicima the Cryphoglyphos. They grow up to 10 inches tall and live for up to 8 years. With the evolution of Cryphoglyphos, some Phtyerobrachid may evolve to feed on them. However, due to the hidden nature of the Cryphoglyphos, these creatures may need to evolve a new way of getting them out of their shells. They may accomplish this by evolving their bottom tentacles into skewers to stab into their prey and pull them out of their shells. Along with
I like this. Okay. Shout outs to Kahel Na Pagong. This is pretty good.
this, they may have a bony offshoot at the ends of their tentacles, lined with little barbs to keep their prey on their tentacles. These creatures may also have a pale yellow skin color to blend in with the seabed. Along with this, they may swim in schools of up to 16 individuals for safety in numbers. We will call...
Bro, how can I get people to send me artwork? I keep saying I love art. So, like, you guys, if, I have a Discord, I have all the fun stuff as well, just send me, some stuff. Instagram, the Twitters, all the stuff. I like art, let me get some fan art from some fans. Apparently I have fans. There's people who watch this channel apparently. hey, shout outs to you, bro. Let me get some artwork. You know that I feel like it's dope. I could have it on my walls. Just think about the things. This could be you. This could be you right here. I got this from from the one videos I was doing, but this could be you. This some space over here. All this area is just free for you guys. That could all be you.
All these dangerous creatures, the Souvlaki, they grow up to 25 inches long and live for up to 15 years. With the threat posed by Souvlaki, a clade related to the Cryphoglyphos may evolve a way to counter them. These creatures may evolve to be larger, with the largest species growing up to 7 meters in height. Along with their increased size, their shell may thicken, being twice as thick as before. While these creatures retain their marine snow diet, their height may allow them to reach swarms of micropinae, adding an extra source of nourishment to their diet. Due to how large these animals are, they may be the perfect place for other species of Panoplicima and Dachyosoma to grow on. Due to this, we will call these structures Panoplicima corals, despite them not being related to Earth coral. These animals are called the Corallisoma, and they live for up to 20 years. Due to the density of Corallisoma and Cryphoglyphos, the Stellophyto, Epigeostal, and Xylostelmae struggle to grow in the reefs due to lack of room. However, one descendant of Photinostroma might be able to find a way to counteract the lack of space. These algae-like plants may adopt a more kelp-like body plan, with thin leaves to be able to grow in even the narrowest spaces. These plants may convergently evolve a hold-fast-like structure similar to kelp on
The beats are getting me.
Earth. This will keep them anchored to the places they grow. As these plants spread, they may eventually outcompete any Stellophyto and Epigeostal species that manage to survive in the reefs, driving the reef-dwelling species into extinction.
You're not an artist. Well, I believe in you. Keep it up. One day you will be an artist, Anthrax. I don't know where this rant's going, Anthrax. I'm sorry. I don't know where this is going. But just know I believe in you. You can be an artist. Now, do you want to be an artist is the real question. I don't know. Probably not. You've probably never been like, man, I really want to be like an artist. But you know what? I believe in you, Anthrax. You could be the next Picasso. I've seen Picasso's work before. It's not like something you got to be like the best artist for. Shout out to Picasso, though. I don't know why this went into a random... I told you I had no clue where this was going. I had no clue where this was going, Anthrax. I didn't know I was just going to randomly start, now I'm hating on Picasso, But hey, once again, I have seen his work before. I believe in you. I believe you could at least impress me more than Picasso did. But again, shout out to Picasso. I believe in Anthrax more,
Without any competition, these plants will become the dominant.
I stuck that landing for you, Anthrax. I didn't know where I was going with the rant. I didn't know where I was heading when I was in the middle of the rant. And somehow I came out on top and still was able to stick the landing on that. So once again, I'm also I'm starting to be at that same point again, but now I'm sticking the landing again. We're back to the video. Let's
Vegetation in the reefs, allowing herbivores to move in. We will call them the Phyceophyto. They grow up to 15 inches tall. Meet the Phoresosa, relatives of the Diabrachid. These creatures are unrecognizable compared to their Diabrachid relatives. These creatures have completely lost their eye stalks, relying on their tongue to grab and process food. At the end of their tongue is a sharp calcium sickle to slice
looks like a hook
through large amounts of Phyceophyto. This makes it easier for them to eat it. These creatures have evolved the skin on their back into a thick exoskeleton with segments to allow for more flexibility. This exoskeleton protects them from Souvlaki.
Is this like the first exoskeleton creature that we've seen so far? Like something with an actual calcium exoskeleton? Because I feel like everything else we've seen just internal skeletons on.
Allowing them to forage for food without fear of attack. Interestingly, these creatures exhibit a basic form of parental care, with the mother Phoresosa finding and slicing up food for her young.
Okay.
These creatures still have the snail-like foot of their ancestors, allowing them to crawl along the seabed in search of food. They grow up to 30 inches long and live for up to 12 years. With the evolution of these new armored creatures, Dinodabrachid may need to find a way around their defenses. While they may start off by flipping Sosa onto their back to expose their soft underbelly, they could eventually evolve a brand new way of getting their food. These creatures may evolve an extra digit at the end of their tentacles, almost like an extra finger, to grab their prey and tear it into two. These digits may be tipped with sharp claws to stab into their prey and subdue them.
That is actually insanely violent right there. Like, I don't know if you guys just fully heard what he explained there, but he's talking about using his claws to grab into a skeleton and then just straight up rip it in half. That's some, like, first of all, the amount of dexterity they have to have for that. Second of all, that's just crazy amount of strength to just be able to be like, you know what? Yeah, just grab right into you and just rip you all in half. Like, the crazy amount of muscle that must be in these tentacles here is actually insane to just be ripping like creatures in half. You know, they have all these blood vessels, all the, you know, the skin, the muscles, all the stuff that doesn't want to be torn in half. And they're just like, you know what? Bam, I'm tearing you in half anyway.
Before they tear it in half. To camouflage within the reefs, they have evolved a green skin color. This allows them to ambush their prey. They primarily feed on Sosa, Diabrachid, and Dakiosoma. We will call these strange creatures the Schizimobrachid. They grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 19 years. To counteract these new predators, a clade related to the mimicephalin may evolve to mimic a fallen leaf to avoid being eaten. Their already flat, leaf-shaped bodies may make this easy to accomplish. As long as they stay still, they will not be spotted. Along with this, they may evolve a muscular fin on their back that they can use to kick up sand and bury themselves. This, coupled with a yellow skin color, may make them virtually invisible to predators. Yeah. However, if they are spotted by...
If they could adapt one more thing, I would say if they could try to adapt where it's like color changing, this might be a little OP right here if they adapt color changing. Mortal Kombat fish. Yes. We're watching Mortal Kombat fish.
A predator. They may use their back fin to fling sand into the predator's eyes, giving them precious moments to escape. While most species in this clade are herbivores, some species are ambush predators, using their jumping abilities and their tentacles to jump at and grab prey. We will call these strange mimicephalin the Epipedasoma. They grow up to 15 inches long and live for up to 10 years. With the abundance of herbivores the Phyceophyto attracts, some ancestral Dakiosoma may start to take notice. Perhaps one branch of Dakiosoma evolves to mimic Phyceophyto, with their feeding tentacles flattening out to mimic their leaves. Along with this, they may evolve a bright yellow skin color to camouflage themselves with the dense groves of Phyceophyto. This evolutionary strategy is called aggressive mimicry, where a predator evolves to mimic something in hopes of attracting prey. By mimicking the Phyceophyto, the Dakiosoma are almost guaranteed a kill. This may result in their numbers growing exponentially. We will call these aggressive mimics the Analithestio. They grow up to 16 inches tall and live for up to 7 years. With how many predators inhabit the reefs, the ancestral Dakiosoma may start to dwindle in number. This may result in them being pushed to the brink of extinction. However, they may be spared from extinction by one peculiar development. Perhaps these creatures evolve toxins to dissuade predators from eating them. However, this toxin won't be any good if they die in the process. They may solve this issue by evolving many different bright and vibrant colors.
All right, now, what is this guy doing here, bro? I feel like this guy is the guy who has like drugs at the rave. Like, it's this guy right here that sells you the drugs at the rave party. And these guys are high. Like, look at them. Look at the colors and the spots, bro. I can look how red his spots are right here. Look, you know, you see the reds, and it's just like, come on, bro, what have you been doing? And this guy, he just been on some other stuff. He's on some stuff he don't sell these guys. That's why he got lines, and they just have dots, you know? Like, he's on some stuff that he don't even let these guys know about. And you know what? I feel like that's what real dealers do. You know, shout outs to him. He's keeping the good stuff for himself. Purple, blue, and green stand out against yellow backdrops on the reef. That makes sense. I wanted to have a little bit, want to have a little bit of silly time. Because look at this guy. Look at these blue lines here. Look at these blue lines over here.
Patterns to stand out against the yellow vegetation. On Earth, toxic animals usually have bright red or yellow warning coloration to stand out against the green plants.
True.
However, on Opono, this wouldn't work as the vegetation is yellow. So these creatures' warning coloration may be made up of bright blues, greens, and purples. This makes them very noticeable to predators. With this adaptation, these Dakiosoma may be spared from extinction, allowing them to diversify once again. We will call them the Toxicosoma. They grow up to 1 foot tall and live for up to 10 years. Up until now, nothing has been feeding on the Corallosoma, allowing their population to spiral out of control. So perhaps a clade of Carchariapsary evolves to eat the Corallosoma. These creatures may evolve stronger jaw muscles, along with a beak to crush through the shells of Corallosoma. Although
I like this. I feel like this might be one of my new favorite animals.
these creatures may also feed on any other small animals that inhabit the reefs. It is for this reason these creatures are the apex predators of the reefs they call home.
You could tell he an apex predator. Look at him, bro. He looks like he knows he knows he's number one. Something about him is like this creature looks like he has so much attitude and he just knows he's number one. This is like Bakugo if he was a fish. Like if Bakugo was a fish creature on another planet, it would be this guy. Cause look at him. He's just like, yeah, I know. I got the beak. I already know. I'm all fast and stuff. I'm good, bro. I'm making it to 1A.
These animals have evolved a highly specialized way of communicating with one another. They have evolved an organ similar to the melon of beluga whales. This will help reverberate their deep, booming growls, which they use to communicate with one another.
Yeah. This is what I thought they would be sounding like. I thought this was like the best way to like get things, like translate things underwater, was for a bellowing sound like this.
These creatures travel in packs of up to 5 individuals, hunting for any prey they can find. They have also convergently evolved a method of camouflage similar to every other animal in the reefs. They have an orange skin color to blend in with the Corallosoma they feed on, allowing them to ambush prey without them noticing. Despite the complex environment of the reefs, these creatures may still be extremely fast swimmers, being one of the fastest clades in the reefs. We will call these creatures the Ramphistodontia. They grow up to 3 meters long and live for up to 25 years.
25 good years, being on top, being the man for 25 years. Jeez.
From the strange Gelidinopsari to the speedy Ramphistodontia, the organisms of Opono have conquered every niche available in these warm waters. In the next episode, we will see how these clades adapt to the freezing polar oceans of Opono. Special thanks to all the
Hey, once again, shout outs to Blab, Cahelm Napongo. That's probably not how you pronounce that, but shout outs to you, bro. An average avocado, split matter, Michael, and Terragrade. I feel like I'm not saying that right, but you know what? It is what it is. If any of those guys are watching the channel, shout outs to you, bro.
and artists on Discord who made fun art for this episode. You guys helped me out.
Make sure you are subscribing to this channel here. I want to see, hey, somebody at least subscribed. I feel like he got at least one more since this started. So yeah, make sure everyone is subscribing to the channel. Give our guys some support here, because I feel like each video is getting more detailed, so I enjoy that.
Out a lot with your illustrations. See you in the next episode.
Hold on. I like the beat. The beat almost reminds me of like a horror movie when it comes on, like how like Jason or something. Like na 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 na. Like I feel like that piano is so like synonymous with like horror movies that even in this, where you actually hear like more of it being exposed, it's just the beginning chords instantly make you think it's like a horror movie or something.
Welcome, fellow explorers, to Project Opono. In the last episode, we saw how the abundance of niches in the reefs and underwater jungles led to the welcome the abundance.
Yeah, I love this image right here. Something about this one really hits for me. I like the detail in this. Like, you're seeing it from an underwater perspective, so it's like you look up and you're seeing this, and it's just like, that's a crazy sight. That's a crazy sight to see, just looking up and seeing all this stuff.
Of niches in the reefs and underwater jungles led to the creation of two of the most biodiverse biomes on the planet. In this episode, we will discuss a much less diverse environment. The poles of Opono are one of the harshest places on the planet, being below freezing almost every day. Under the water, it is no different, with the waters of the polar oceans being cold and lifeless. Due to how cold these oceans are, life may struggle to adapt to live there. However, one event may push life to adapt to these cold waters. In the Southern Ocean, currents flood.
Do we have any clue? By the way, I know my audience is smart. That's why I asked you guys all the questions. Do we know what creatures first started living in the polar oceans? Like back in, like, for ourselves? Like, are these questions that we asked ourselves? Like, yo, when, when did animals started living in the Arctic Ocean? You know, that's kind of cold. They probably weren't used to that. They were probably like, whoa, it's kind of chilly up there. I'm not coming back up here until we invent fish coats. And then fish never got coats, but they still, they were like, yo, let's make blubber. And then some fish was like, yeah, I'm good. I can live over here. I'm chilling. And then other creatures, like, what's the story behind that? Come on.
Nutrients from the seabed into the open water, fueling massive plankton blooms. These plankton blooms may become the base of the Southern Ocean's ecosystem. We will start our exploration here in the Southern Ocean. As the plankton blooms grow in abundance, they may entice animals from far and wide to come and feed on them. Perhaps a small population of parvipsari adapts to live in the Southern Ocean. These creatures may feed on the plankton blooms in massive schools of up to 100,000 individuals. As their schools grow larger, their overall body size may decrease to a tenth of what it used to be. Due to the small size of these creatures, they may reproduce in large numbers to keep populations stable, as that is their only defense from predators. This is called arselection, where an organism reproduces in vast quantities in the hopes that a few offspring will survive to adulthood. We will call these creatures the megalosminos. They grow up to 1.5 inches long and live for up to 1 week. They may fill the role.
1 week, bro? 1 week, bro? You know how pissed off I would be if I was the creature that had to live for 1 week, and then I'm seeing creatures living for like 50 years, 29 years, 25 years? 1 week? Are you kidding me? Who do you think I am? 1 week? How am I supposed to... What if I can't even find a person to reproduce within a week, bro? It's like my whole life. Do I get time to breathe? Do I get time to figure out who I am as a fish at that point? As a fish or as a creature, you don't even understand who you are, bro. You about to die in a week. You got 7 days to figure it out. You're not going to college, bro. You might not even get a job in that time. You fill out one application, the next thing you know, you die before they call you back. You're like, hey, I was speaking to Bob the other day. Oh, Bob passed away already. It's been 7 days since he was born, And it was like, you should have we was expecting a call back from you 2 days ago, bro. And it's like, I was expecting a call back from you. And it's like, yeah, now you don't get the job. Congratulations. You just lost your fish job and you died. Like, bro, 1 week? Like, yes, I get very immersed in these things, bro. I'm sorry. I get immersed into these hypotheticals that I also create within my head.
Of micropinae in the Northern and Southern Oceans.
1 week?
Due to the size of the megalosminos schools, some ancestral Longacata may take notice. Due to the small size of the megalosminos, these creatures may need to evolve a way to condense them into a small area. These creatures may solve this issue by evolving flaps of skin in between their feeding tentacles. This may turn their mouth parts into a funnel which they can use to collect small swarms of megalosminos and pass them into their mouth. They may also evolve teeth similar to those of the Carchariapsari to grind their food into pieces before it passes into the mouth. Due to the frigid waters of the Arctic, the eggs of the Longacauda may freeze if laid directly into the water. However, there is a simple way around this risk. If the mother Longacauda were to keep the fertilized eggs within her body until they hatch, then the risk of the eggs freezing would be nearly zero. This birthing strategy is called ovoviviparity. Ovoviviparity is a process by which a mother's eggs hatch while within her, resulting in fully matured young when finally birthed.
I did not know that this is what happened. I thought snake eggs still needed time to do their thing, but I just learned something new here.
This gives the appearance of live birth, but the mother doesn't give any extra nutrients to the developing embryos. We will call these strange creatures the conostoma. They grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 10 years.
Bro, are you kidding me? So you mean to tell me the creature lives for a week? The creature that kills them lives for 10 years. 10 years! You ain't gonna never think of a battle strategy. You guys are never gonna have time to think of, like, how do we not get killed by this fish? What you're gonna try to evolve from that? Like, you get a week to even be like, you know what, this is what our evolution needs. I don't know. It's only been a week. We don't know what we needed because we died too quickly. The other guys get 10 years to be like, oh, let's evolve to be better at this and that and this and that. Like, yeah, they're rebirthing at 100,000 or something every time they have birth anyway. We might as well just get a bunch of them. We got years to think about this, guys. I've been over here surviving off of these things for 5 years now. I think I know every one of their strategies to get away from us. Meanwhile, the fish is over here. The other fish is like, yo, I don't know, man. We've been alive for like 5 days now, and we have no freaking clue on what's going to be happening to us. Like, we don't even know how they know all our battle strategies because we don't know any battle strategies because nobody lived long enough to tell me anything. What happened to your parents? Oh, my parents died like a day after I was born. My dad wasn't even able to find anybody until day 6. He found somebody on day 6, then he died. Then it was like, boom, mom died, and then next day, you were born that same day she died. Boom. You ain't have no parents, bro. Everybody's just on their own. It's a struggle village over here.
The abundance of food during the southern plankton blooms will attract animals in droves to come and feed, from some of the smallest creatures to the largest. The Phalaenosoma, being one of the only large filter feeders on Opono, may start to feed on these plankton blooms. However, they may soon have to adapt to the colder waters. Their body may increase in size, not only due to the abundance of food, but also to produce more body heat in a process called gigantothermy. Gigantothermy is a method of thermoregulation characterized by large body sizes. The larger an animal is, the more body heat it generates. This relationship between size and body heat is called Bergmann's rule and will help these Arctic Phalaenosoma stay warm in the Arctic. To complement their gigantothermy, they may also evolve a thick layer of blubber, trapping their heat within their body. Their tentacles have evolved many more hairs to catch as much plankton as possible. While they primarily feed on plankton, they won't refuse the occasional school of megalosminos. However, similarly to the conostoma, their eggs would be vulnerable to the cold. So, in convergence with the conostoma, the Arctic Phalaenosoma may evolve ovoviviparity to keep their eggs protected.
Bro said, I'm not having fish kids at that point. Brother, you'd be lucky if you can find somebody to have fish kids with. First of all, how many days, that's like, yo, you're not going to have a kid on day 1. Day 2, you're still trying to survive. Hopefully you make it to day 2 because these creatures been like, they probably spawn camping. at this point, the other creatures, they living for 10 years. So they're probably like, where do these guys spawn? We got to spawn camp these things as soon as they come out. So hopefully you live to even be able to see some fish poontang, you know what I mean? Like hopefully you even get enough time to meet a nice looking fish over here. Hey fish, nice to meet you. Oh yeah, nice to meet you too. Oh man, we both died. Oh my gosh, I didn't even get to have a fish kiss. I'm I'm a fish already, but not like that. Hopefully you're not, you know what, if you're that fish watching this video, shout outs to any creatures that only live for a week and somehow you're watching this video, shout out to you, bro.
From the cold water. However,
for some strange reason, if this video surpasses like time, space, and for some reason we got alien creatures watching this exact video for some reason, I want to say shout outs to you guys, bro. I knew you could, I didn't really have faith in you. I'll say that. I didn't have faith in the creatures, but you know what? Shout outs to you, bro.
Unlike the Conostoma, who abandon their young once they are birthed, the Arctic Phalaenosoma may exhibit a simple form of parental care. The mother Phalaenosoma may secrete a special liquid from glands on the underside of her fins, similar to milk. This milk will be filled with fat, proteins, and other nutrients to nourish their young. The fat in the milk will allow their children to quickly build up a thick layer of blubber to protect themselves from the cold. Okay. Until the young are mature, the mother will be fiercely protective of them, charging at and attacking anything that comes within range of her offspring. After about 1 to 2 years, the mother and child will separate, as by then the child will have developed a thick enough layer of blubber to serve on its own. We will call these protective giants the Limberosoma. They grow up to 10 meters long and live for up to 35 years. Due to the nutrients washed upwards by the current, plants may be able to grow here in the Southern Ocean. Perhaps a particularly hardy relative of the Stellophyto evolves to grow on the underside of the ice to be closer to sunlight. To counteract the strong southern currents, they may evolve simple roots to anchor themselves to the ice, while using their hold fast as extra surface area to stick. While photosynthesis may be effective, they may also start to take advantage of the abundant plankton blooms. Their ancestral gas sac may become a simple stomach with a protrusion of their stem acting as a simple mouth. When plankton is abundant, they suck water into their stomach, drawing in plankton and small megalosminos into said stomach. After they collect enough plankton, they spit the water back out and begin to digest their food. This method of collecting nutrients classifies them as a carnivorous plant. Carnivorous plants are plants that have evolved to use animals to gather a portion of their nutrients. These Arctic Stellophyto may reproduce asexually in uncolonized patches of ice sheet in a process called budding. However, instead of the daughter plants detaching from their parent plant, they stay attached by a runner sent out by the mother plant. But in high population densities, these plants may use sexual reproduction, spitting out gametes from a sac connected to their stomach. When their stomach contracts and expands as they suck in water and plankton, they may spit gametes out of their mouth if conditions are favorable. We will call these strange Stellophyto the Trogone tasphyto. They grow up to 10 inches long. The colonies of Trogone tasphyto may entice some diabrachid to feed on them. However, as the Trogone tasphyto grows under the ice sheets, the diabrachids may not be able to reach them. So they may evolve to suction themselves to the ice using a suction cup to access the Trogone tasphyto. As the suction cup is in direct contact with the ice, it may evolve a thick layer of fat to not freeze the tissue there to death. The arms of these diabrachid may evolve to be extra muscular to pluck Trogone tasphyto off of the ice. Their throats may evolve radulae similar to that of a snail to grind down their food. However, these creatures face a problem. Since they hang under the ice, their eggs may be at risk of falling to the sea bed. To solve this issue, the mother diabrachid may evolve to stick their eggs to their back using their tentacles. The eggs may be coated in a glue-like substance to stay on their mother's back until they hatch. We will call these upside-down creatures the Bentusa. They grow up to 1.5 feet long and live for up to 10 years. The Trogontasphyto may also attract other animals such as the Parvipsari. However, due to the threat posed by the Conostoma, these creatures may need to find a way to defend themselves. In the Arctic, the cold waters will allow the metabolisms of animals to slow dramatically, allowing them to go long stretches of time without food. These Parvipsari may complement this with special proteins in their blood that act like antifreeze.
Whoa.
This will allow them to go up to a month without food.
But why does he have a skull? Like, why does this look like a skull right here, though? Like a skull and crossbones, you know? It looks extra scary.
As they hibernate. These creatures may go into a coma-like state when they hibernate, switching off most of their brain function except for the area that controls their swimming. This will allow these creatures to stay swimming, to gather oxygen from the water, to not suffocate to death. These creatures may only hibernate when food is limited, to stay alert in case a predator spots them. The antifreeze proteins may also make their blood and flesh toxic. These Arctic Parvipsari may capitalize on this, becoming a bright green color to advertise their poisonousness. While their ancestors used to congregate in schools, these animals may be solitary, only congregating during mating season. We will call them the Ateriastopsari. They grow up to 20 inches long and live for up to 11 years. Due to the large size of the Limberosoma, some animals may start to use them for protection against predators. Meet the Caravidosoma, descendants of the Panoplicema. These creatures have evolved into a form similar to that of earth barnacles. These creatures latch onto their hosts by using their ancestral suction cup and digging parts of their shell into the skin and blubber of said host. Due to how hard these creatures attach themselves to their host, they are nearly impossible to remove, resulting in massive colonies on the underside of their host. Due to how thick the blubber of their host is, the shell inside the skin causes little to no pain, so the host doesn't notice them. These creatures have evolved shorter feeding tentacles, as having larger tentacles makes them easier to grab onto. While this may decrease their feeding efficiency, it decreases their chance of being grabbed into by a predator. However, not every species of Caravidosoma is so harmless. Some species may dig their shells into the skin of the host and into the flesh itself, leaching blood from said host, being parasitic. They grow up to 1 inch long and live for up to 2 years. Due to Caravidosoma growing on their body,
2 years of this? 2 years of dealing with this thing? It's just freaking on your back? Like, bro. It doesn't look like that at all. I mean, not sure which reference that's for, but yeah.
Limberosoma might have a harder time swimming due to the drag caused by their tentacles. So perhaps a relative of the Catharapsari evolves to pluck the Caravidosoma off of the Limberosoma using their tentacles. However, due to how fast Limberosoma swims relative to Catharapsari, they may need a way to keep up with them. So perhaps the middle pair of fins evolved into 2 suction cups similar to remoras to latch onto their host and allow them to feed on Caravidosoma. These fins may also move like the foot of a snail once attached to a host, allowing them to move to new areas and clean off the Caravidosoma. Due to them...
Bruh. So now we got 2 different creatures on this freaking whale creature thing having themselves a ball. Yeah, I see what you mean. They lost the rattle here. Yeah, I do see what you mean, how they lost the rattle. That's funny, though.
No longer feeding on dead skin. The feeding hairs on their tentacles...
I'm just thinking, like, how uncomfortable life is for this one creature, this whale creature. Like, at first it was cool. Like, all right, one of them, all right, you know, digging into my blubber a little bit, whatever. I don't really feel it. Then you got another guy that's just, like, actually trying to leach your blood. And then you got another guy that's trying to kill the first 2 guys. And it's like, bro, can y'all do this at your own house? Can y'all not do this at my place? Like, can y'all, like, squabble and do y'all thing, like, off of me, please?
May be lost entirely. Their tentacles may become more muscular to pull Caravidosoma out of their shells. Along with this, they may convergently evolve radulae similar to the Bentusa to grind their food into a paste. Due to being around Limbrosoma, the Arctic Catharapsari may be protected from predation since no predator would risk attacking a beast such as the Limbrosoma. We will call these strange cleaners the Cerasistero. They grow up to 10 inches long and live for up to 7 years. While the currents of the Southern Ocean give rise to an abundance of nutrients, those same currents are what cause the Northern Ocean to be comparatively lacking in nutrients. This is due to a process called downwelling, where currents push water downwards, giving rise to a lack of nutrients. However, there may still be opportunities for the hardiest life forms to live here. Meet the Citobromias, relatives of the Macrosoma. These worm-like creatures slither along the seabed, sifting the muck for anything edible. They do this by having a huge mouth and a throat lined with hairs to filter food. After they gather food, they spit the muck back out of their mouth and digest their food. This feeding method is quite effective, allowing the Citobromias to become one of the few organisms to inhabit the Northern Ocean. Whenever they are spotted by a predator, they dig into the ground, since they don't form permanent burrows. They grow up to 10 inches long and live for up to 5 years. While the lack of nutrients in the Northern Ocean may prevent most plants from growing there, a resilient clade of Phyceophyto may be able to eke out a living here. They may evolve simple roots to collect as much of the little nutrients available as they can, storing them in a bulb at the base of their body. Due to the freezing waters, their leaf may evolve to be thinner to prevent it from dying due to having too much surface area. Without much competition, these plants may grow in abundance, forming vast kelp forests in the warmest parts of the north and the temperate areas of the ocean. However, in winter, the ice sheets cover most of the ocean's surface. These plants may circumvent this by becoming seasonal, shedding their leaf in winter and living off of the collected nutrients in their bulb until summer. This means that, while in the summer the northern Phyceophyto forests may be full of lush vegetation, while in the winter the landscape may be peppered with shed leaves and plant bulbs. We will call these seasonal Phyceophyto the Lampteris phyce. Their leaves grow up to 1.5 feet long. With the abundance of food that the Lampteris phyce provides, a relative of the Phoresosa may adapt to feed on them. Their exoskeleton may shrink, being relegated to a protective layer on the top of the animal's body. The rest of the body may become thicker to stave off the cold. However, in winter, the Lampteris phyce bulbs may be hidden underground. So, to get to the bulbs, these Phoresosa may evolve a split mouth and throat. The top mouth may be used to suck up sand and Lampteris phyce bulbs, with rings of hairs to...
Wait. Intake siphon, stomach, outtake siphon, filter, hair. Okay, that makes sense.
sift out the bulbs from the sand. However, some sand will make it through, which is where the bottom mouth comes into play. The bottom mouth is smaller than the top mouth, meaning that while sand can pass through it, Lampteris phyce bulbs can't. This allows the animal to spit out the sand while keeping their food in the stomach. To spot predators, these creatures may re-evolve the signature eye stalks of their diabrachid ancestors, allowing them to spot anything around them. In addition to this, they may be able to swivel their eyes back and forth independently of each other, similar to that of a chameleon, giving them 360-degree vision. It is for their special mouths that we will call them the Scyphostoma. They grow up to 3 feet long and live for up to 20 years. Meet the Macrozoi. These creatures are relatives of the Carchariapsari and Phalaenosoma. They split off early in the evolution of the Osteopinae and so inherit characteristics of their relatives. They have a simple skeleton, a pointed tail for bursts of speed, strong jaw muscles, and sharp teeth. However, these organisms aren't carnivores. They primarily feed on Lampteris phyce with the occasional Citobromias and dead Scyphostoma. However, due to their nutrient-poor diet, their metabolism is quite slow, being one of the slowest on the planet. But this is actually to their benefit. Having a slower metabolism allows their biological
teeth are crazy though.
processes to slow, making them require one meal every year.
What?
Along with this,
What? 1 meal a year, brother. There's animals here that don't even live for a year. You got your guy over here that's living for a week, and you don't have, Bro, the ability to brag. The ability to brag in this fish world, bro. I am telling you, if you had the ability to go down and just talk some smack to the other ones, all you gotta do is be like, brother, you live for a week. I'm gonna be here for years, brother. I don't even have to eat for the next year. I can go without eating and watch 10 of your 52 of your generations die, brother. 52 weeks in a year. Well, I can watch 52 of your generations die and not even eat any of them, bro. What are you talking about? I can eat I can eat 10 of y'all right now and then just watch 52 generations of y'all die right in my face and not even shed a tear, and then come back and eat the other generation once they come back. Like, come on, bro. What are you doing here? What are we doing here, bro? Like, this is the type of stuff that would drive those 1 week creatures insane. The fact that they only get to live a week and then every other creature just gets to be like, you know what? Not only do you only live for a week, but guess how long I live? 20 something years. Boom. This guy is over here like, you know what? Guess how long I can go without eating? A whole year. And nobody else is doing that. Nobody else is doing that, bro. I'm telling you. It's actually insane.
They have antifreeze proteins in the blood, similarly to the Ateriastopsuri. This gives them an extremely long lifespan, similar to the Greenland shark of Earth. However, they are able to achieve short bursts of speed to avoid predators, but this takes up huge amounts of energy. It is for this reason they form schools of up to 20 individuals, for safety in numbers. They grow up to 1 meter long and live for up to 250 years.
What are we doing here, bro? What are we doing here? I said this at the beginning. I said this at the beginning of the video. This feels like a crazy pace, and next thing you know, we're gonna have animals living to 200 years. And what do we look here? What do we see here? What is this in my face? What is this guy? 250 years? Are you kidding me? What is happening? Like, what is actually happening here, bro? Like, who are you? You can go a year without eating. You live for 250 years. Who is this guy? He really thinks he's him. I don't know who he is, but he thinks he's him. This guy is insane over here. 250. What are you doing for 250 years, bro? You don't. That's why you gotta have all your friends with you, because it's like you're not meeting new friends, bro. After 100 years, you're like, you know what? I'm not even meeting new friends. I got another 150 years left in me.
Due to the abundance of prey in both the northern and southern ocean, some Carcharodopsuri may evolve to capitalize on it. However, due to how tight the schools of Macrozoi and Ateriastopsuri are, they may evolve a way to counter it. Their first pair of fins may evolve into long, thin whips, allowing the Carcharodopsuri to slide them into schools of prey and thrash them around to disorient them, allowing the Carcharodopsuri to get a kill. However, when in pursuit of faster prey, they use their powerful tail fin to give them a burst of great speed to catch up. While swimming, they tuck their whips under their body to reduce drag. These creatures may have a slender build with a layer of blubber for insulation. All of these factors have led to the Arctic Carcharodopsuri becoming the apex predator in both the northern and southern ocean. However, these animals may not risk attacking an adult Limbrosoma alone, so they may target their young, but this
Crazy, like, vision here. I love this.
may also lead to an angry mother attacking and killing them. It is for this reason that they hunt in packs of up to 5 individuals, to give them better hunting efficiency. We will call these strange predators the Rhabdobrachid. They grow up to 2 meters long and live for up to 19 years.
From the strange Rhabdobrachid to the long-living Macrozoi, it is clear that the harsh environment of the polar oceans has led to some of the most peculiar clades on the planet. However, there is another, much more extreme environment that demands our attention. In the next episode, we will explore the dark, crushing depths of the deep sea. Special thanks to all of the fan artists on Discord who submitted.
Once again, shout out to Kyle Napapanga, Pagang, Pagang. I'm gonna just say Napagang. An average avocado, once again. Split Matter, Michael, Bublazzle, Bombaloni, and Blab.
fan art for this episode. You guys have made this episode look a lot better than it would have been without your help. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.
Okay, guys, we are going to call it here. We just watched the first 4 episodes. Honestly, I thought it was great. Make sure you give all these videos a like. Make sure you guys subscribe to Project Opono. Once again, go to the channel and check them out. I am going to go ahead and, call it for this stream today. I think we had a good stream. Look up Greenland sharks. I will look up Greenland sharks. You know, I feel like I know about Greenland sharks. Like, I've heard of them before, but I'll look that up. But guys, I am going to call it here. I am going to go ahead and cook dinner. Also, this has just been a long day for me. So once again, everyone, we're going to finish this up. We only got like 2 episodes or 2 or 3 episodes left, to be honest with you. Well, no, there's 7, 8. Yeah, I think for like 5. Wait, hold on. How many? There's like 7 episodes. We're on episode 5 here. So, okay. We're like more than halfway done. We're going to be finishing up the rest of this. Let's see. This one's an hour. This one's like 23 minutes. So we might be able to finish this up sometime after work, sometime this week. But you know what? I'm going to make a post about it. I'm going to make a whole post about it. If you guys know Opono, the person in person, let them know that I would love to have some type of I'm going to try to make a thumbnail for this. But if anyone in that circle wants to send me some artwork that I could use for a thumbnail, that'd be great too. Because you know what? I like the art in this. So once again, guys, as always, if you made it this far into the video, as always, I want to say thank you. I love you, and bye.